Hello and welcome, guys. It's Leon Street here alongside my co-host,
Mr. Robert Dean Smith the First.
Absolutely. Now we're bringing you another exciting episode of Business Owner Elevation Podcast / TV.
Yeah.
Now we've got a great guest in store for you, and I'm going to welcome to the show Duane Henry. First of all, how you doing, Duane?
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to reveal a bit more about Duane shortly because he's royalty. I'm going to explain a bit more in a moment about that. I don't want to embarrass him too much. But what I want to do is hand over to Rob because I just want a bit of a backstory just for our audience so they know where we come from, and then we can introduce Duane.
That's
properly.
phenomenal. Elevation Nation. So the backstory, I mean, I first met Duane, gosh, I don't even know how old he is now. If you're 30, are you 32, 33? Yeah. So it probably would have been about 15, 16.
Yeah.
And how that came about is basically, there was myself and a few other guys, maybe about 15 guys that was in an organization called 100 Black Men. And that's a mentoring organization, an international mentoring organization that was founded in America. And then the first international chapter was here in Birmingham. And my good friend, Carl George, who we've also had on the show before on our podcast show. If you want to go back to episode 003 or 4, you can check that interview out. Basically started that movement here in the UK. And what it was is basically dealing with or helping youth, especially black youth, rise their aspirations. So we were going into schools and we were doing events, and we used to have a once a month thing down at the Drum. And we just do these like mentoring sessions with people and with the young people. And there was like, I don't know, sometimes it'd be 50, 60, mixture of boys and girls. And obviously Duane was one of those candidates who used to show up regularly, had a wry smile, still got that smile, I think. But he had this goal, like many of the guys that were going to the sessions, they all had different goals and ambitions. But I distinctly remember Duane's being like, I want to be in Hollywood. And like, maybe there was a few eyebrows raised, but I was like, in my head, it's like, wow, that's good. Like, for me, the sky is the limit, or the unit beyond the sky is the limit. So, like, we were just encouraging people to do what they want to do, what their goals were. And obviously, over that time, we've seen the meteoric rise of Duane Henry, and some of you will know him as Clayton Reeves, Mr. Clayton Reeves, going through what it takes to be an actor. And it's not easy, like acting, any business, anything you want to do, your whole career, there's levels, there's challenges. And today we're going to be very fortunate to really step into Duane's world. I'm excited that he's given us that opportunity to step into his world and share. And I think this is going to help not only our audience, but I'm even thinking about my daughter who's 15 now and my son who's 18, how this will probably influence them and probably give them some ideas on like the sky is the limit and there are going to be challenges. Nothing's going to be an easy step-by-step process. So I'm really delighted, and boy, words can't explain how I'm feeling right now. Cool. So I just really want to jump in.
Yeah, we're going to jump in. So guys, as I said, royalty, Hollywood royalty. So I believe the main show that people know him from, the name Clayton Reeves at the moment, is from a show called NCIS. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. We just want to make sure we don't get no retakes on this episode. We're going straight in, guys. Yeah. So, as I said, we're bringing somebody from Birmingham originally, yeah?
Yeah. Birmingham in the house.
And the key thing, and I'll put this across, it's kind of like, it's my thing. I'm being a bit kind of me. But I want to give you guys a great episode to show you what somebody, when they're influenced the right way, but more importantly, they then put their mind to a goal, they make it happen. So whether it's business, whether it's a challenge you've got going on right now, it doesn't matter. And that's the reason why we have Duane on today. So what I'd love, first of all, just to jump in, should we get a bit of a background from Duane so we can just share with people? Yeah. And then we can just dive in. So what I'd love, Duane, is for you to kind of take us back to around that time that Rob's talking about, were you like 15 or so?
Yeah.
And then we can just bring it right back, fast forward in probably like 5 minutes or so.
Okay. Well, first off, thank you for that introduction. That was cool, man. I'm sitting there like, right, is that me? No, thank you. It means a lot, man. 100 Black Men.
Yeah.
15 years old, Oxhill Road, St. John Wall School. Teachers called us in, so we have some guests coming in from the community, and I just remember going in with all the man them.
Yeah.
A few of us, we didn't know what to expect. Looking out the window, seeing a bunch of black cars pull up. I remember it like it was yesterday. Shiny black cars, and I'm like, what's this? Men in Black business? Like, who are these guys? Long story short, bunch of well-dressed gentlemen walk in our classroom and stand at the front of us, you know, a couple gold teeth shining here and there, but also a tie as well. So I'm just like, okay, who are these guys? And then I just started talking about, you know, the foundation of what the basis of the sort of group their group is. And it was 100 Black Men. I remember hearing the name 100 Black Men, and as soon as I heard it, it's like a punch, you know, it's quite powerful. You know, 100 Black Men, it's like, what? Why 100? Like, what's this about? So that was my very first ever introduction to these guys' world, you know. So and I remember Carl George just standing up at the front, and he just had this aura about him, and his just success was beaming off him. And I was looking around at my boys like, you're catching this. I'm trying to play it down like it's nothing, but I'm looking at him like, well, it looks like a superhero, man. These guys do. Like, what is the deal with them? And then that was the first day, the rest of my life, you know, in terms of what 100 Black Men did for me. That was the first sort of ray of sort of light coming out. Because before that, obviously growing up, you know, with limited support from the male figures in my life. I never had that, you know. I never seen man in suits. I see man in suit, they're on the way to court. You know what I mean? So I never really seen that type of thing. So that was the very first ever introduction of 100 Black Men. And they screamed success at me, and I didn't know what I knew. I wanted to act kind of a little bit. I knew it came natural to me. I knew I wanted to do something different, but I didn't know what. I didn't marry the two feelings together. But I remember sticking by Carl, and I remember just hearing every word that came out of their mouth and thinking, I want to continue this. So at the end, they gave out a few leaflets and stuff, and then I remember just hitting him up. I don't remember exactly, but I remember just sticking to him and just, as you said, going down to the drum and starting to get involved in. It was an organisation called Junior 100, and I wanted to be a part of that. And that's when I first started to realise what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And that was one of the first times I met David Harewood as well, and he was a god at that point because he'd done like a show called Fat Friends, The Vice. You know, I used to watch all these guys, and I knew he was black and he was from Birmingham, and he was small, not from Hansa, it was sort of small heath, but it meant a lot that he was a stone's throw from where I'm from. So that was literally the first introduction I had with 100 Black Men, and sort of a hierarchy of what I wanted to do with my life. Yeah, that was it. Very first.
Awesome. So where did you go from that point? So you were in the program 100 Black Men, like, and then you mentioned obviously this star from The Vice and so on.
Yeah.
Where did your journey take you next? Because and just before you answer, the reason why I ask is because at 15, that's quite a lofty goal to say. I think I'd like to be an actor. That's something different, and I'm just trying to bridge the gap to where you are now, which is like in the reality, in the big scheme of things, there's a lot of people who go down the route that you do and they don't make it. And for one reason or another, you've got this. I'd like to know what's the next steps that happen then.
Well, I think like most 15-year-olds, you're drunk with audacity, you know, and I was anyway. I didn't know where it was going to take me. Can take you to the roads, can take you here, can take you there, but that audacity doesn't leave you. You carry with it, you know, especially where we're from. You have this stigma, so we have this cloak around us, this front, this ego, this, you know, whatever it is, you know, to protect us. Because people say to me, like, who raised you? Like, what hasn't? And it was the mandem. I took elements from my boys, good and bad. They raised me. I didn't know, you know, TV, film, music. They raised me. I didn't have like a structured father figure in my life. My mom, you know, had me very young, very, very young. So she had to sort of figure it out, and you know, we was figuring it out with her. You know, so. At that time, I knew early enough that if I wanted to do something different, I'm going to have to do something I've never done. First and foremost, you can't do something you've done and get a different result. It's not going to happen. It's physically impossible. So I knew that. So after school, 15, 16, I went to Dudley College. And I went to Dudley College because I wanted to get out of the ends. I thought it was the only way I'm going to have to break out of this sort of comfort zone, so to speak, where everything is just easily accessible to me. You know, what I've got around me. So I thought, okay, go to a college outside of the ends, but not too far. And I liked the course as well. But admittedly, I didn't take the first year too serious. I was still focusing on just being fresh out of school, looking at hair, makeup girls upstairs, and just, you know, being out of the ends, you know. So I was like, oh, wow. So the first year, I didn't really take my performing arts serious. And then three of my teachers, Lynn Miller, Dave Morris, and Dave Wilson, I remember at different times, but not in so many words, they'd sit me down, you know, screaming at me. And I remember Dave Wilson pulling me to the side and saying, you could be an actor, like you could be someone. Like, you got this raw talent. And I'd be like, really, sir, you reckon I could do it? Though, really? And it'd be like, if you stop peeing around and screwing around and showing off and trying to impress girls and all this stupidness and focus, you could actually do something. And he gave me a piece by Hamlet. it's a piece of ham. I forget what it's called. It's too solid flesh with melt and stuff like that. And it was a scene, a 3-minute scene I did in front of the whole year.
Yeah.
And I think it impressed a lot of people where they thought, okay, this kid maybe can do something. That was one of the first things ever. It was nothing serious, but it was a piece. And then from then, well, before that, I used to tell my mum, I remember driving my mum through Nietzsche's one day. I never forget it. And I was like, Mum, I keep getting this feeling in myself, but I don't know what it is, but it just feels like I couldn't figure it out at the time, but it was a purpose, it was a calling, and I didn't know at the time. I was like, Mum, I feel this thing and I can't stop thinking about it, and it's just calling me. I think about it day and night, but I don't know what it is. And she'd be like, well, what is it then, son? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't know. It just feels nuts. And obviously I loved acting, and obviously I just thought, marry the two feelings together. Maybe it's that, and then run with it. So long story short, I did my 2 years at Dudley College, and then I made a plan to go to London for 10 years.
A plan.
Yeah, I made a plan. I figured out, no matter what happens, arm, leg chop off, teeth drop out, you do 10 years in London,
10 years,
and then you go to States and see what you can do. I thought, you got nothing to lose. So
where did the awareness come from to know that?
100 black men. They told me have a 2-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan.
And this is partly why the transformation part is so important for me, and I don't want to interrupt you too much, but having a mentor, somebody who can help you to see the angles that you're not seeing. Because what you don't see, you don't know. So please carry on. So
27th of November 2003, it was a Thursday, 6:30 in the evening. My best friend Krala, he dropped me off to New Street Station, and I went to London. Stayed on my auntie's couch for a year just to learn the logistics of London, get the smell of it, the feel. Walked into my first job, Clark's on Oxford Street, no CV. I had this bravado about me. They were like, you need a CV? I was like, I ain't got one, but face to face is the best way of communication. It's like, come in tomorrow for an interview. Week later, I was working. Took them a few months to sack me and figure out that I was a bag of air. But I just needed the job. And the second job was a cinema in Leicester Square, and they also fired me because they caught me, daydreaming and just practicing my autograph. The manager called me one day and was like, I can see you on the camera pressing feed on the till and all these papers coming out and you're just writing on it. What are you doing? But I was practicing my autograph. Literally, I was just trying, how am I going to get this where it's just natural? And then they fired me because they were like, you're just daydreaming. So I figured, but that was it, that was the start of it. And then I got an agent a year later and started doing a lot of TV and film over the next 10 years to make it go short. Just, Doctor Who, Doctors, Casualty, all the TV shows you can think of, I did, and it was a very, very beautiful experience. Where I sharpened my tools in my box, and I owned my skills. I'd be on sets and asking, what does this do? What does that do? My friends went to uni, I didn't do that. So that was my learning. That was my
on the job.
Yeah. So 10 years, a couple of years before that, 8 years, it started to dry up. And I started to realise, look, okay, D, be realistic. You're not going to make it in London. There's too much mandem here. You're already an outsider. And blah, blah, blah. So I thought, okay. And then 27th of November 2013, I booked my flight to LA. Well, I didn't, someone booked it for me. And 3rd of December, I was in the States. And then when I got there, obviously, once again, I was homeless. I just had like $300, a suitcase, that same audacity I had when I was young, and I just ran with it. I took a year out when I first got there. I didn't want to touch a sniff a script. I just wanted to get logistics, learning to drive on the other side, work on the American accent, tone up a little bit, and just get a feel for the States, because ultimately it's where actors come to die. So I was ready for whatever. I was like, I have nothing to lose. This is my home now. And then after a year, I got agent. Well, I met agent when I first got out there, and he sat me down. He was like, "Are you ready to do this?" And I went, "No." No. I said, "I'm not." And he said, "Okay." A year later, he got a call, and I said, "I'm ready." And he was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." Because everyone was waiting that whole year for me to pull a rabbit out of the hat. They were like, "Can you act though? Like, what are you doing out here?" Like, "You did dub play. What's that? What's dub play drama? We don't know what that is out here." And all these things. So I was like, "All right, cool." And my first audition, well, before that, he sent me a pilot, a show called Billions. It's a big show. I've never seen it, but he sent me a scene from that show, and he was a hotshot lawyer, and he said, "All right, do this scene for me and send it to me." I did it. I got my partner at the time to film it, and hotshot lawyer scene, and I sent it to him. About an hour later, he called me. He texted me back and said, "Okay, I've got an audition for a show called Shades of Blue with Jennifer Lopez, a new TV series." And that was my first audition in America. And long story short, it was out me and another guy for that show. I had 3 meetings. Top of the NBC tower was Jennifer Lopez, Benny Medina, and Barry Levinson, the director of Rain Man. And then J-Lo was just like, "This is your first audition in America?" And I was like, "Yeah." It's just like, "Oh my God, your first?" I was like, "Yeah, it's my first audition." Another kid got it. Obviously, the guy's playing it, but I just think I was maybe a little bit nervous or just wasn't ready. Didn't have the experience. But from then, obviously, I got close with a bunch of stuff after that. But from that first one, they were like, "Okay, this kid can act. He just needs the right gig." So from then, I didn't get nothing that year. But the next year, I booked a pilot called Paradise Pictures. It was set in the 40s, American, Deep South. And I beat out a lot of American boys for it, Well, I beat out all of them for it. I got that. I play a young saxophone player. And I learned to play the sax as well because they gave me a sax for a few months. So I got handy with that. That pilot didn't get picked up. Went quiet again. At this point, I'm homeless. I got no money, no nothing, just rolling stone, crashing here and there. But I've been used to that. Being from where we're from, you learn to run before you can walk, and you just get on with it.
Yeah.
You're not good dead, as my mom says. Just get on with it. And then, my third year. The third year, and the pilot season, January to March, and obviously pilot season is where all the actors come and showcase, and they just get put on this carousel where they just try and promote you and get you, right gig to fit. And all pilot season, I got nothing. Oh, from January to right to the end of March, it was dead. I booked a show called Cool Intentions, actually. It was a series regular, but they dropped me to reoccurring, which means you just get even lower money and you're not really in it. But that was a blessing, because when they dropped me to reoccurring, I got an opportunity to meet for a show called NCIS.
Right.
So obviously, when I first heard of NCIS, obviously I didn't realise how big it was. I knew it was big, but I didn't know it was like number one drama in the world and all this. I didn't really...
Yeah, you were saying that when you were
I didn't really care, because that's none of my business. I'm here to do a job, act and, portray characters. So the numbers is just politics to me, And then my thought process going into my meeting was all my friends had booked, my close friend Ashley Thomas, we hang out a lot in the States. He booked a show called 24 Legacy. I had other friends who booked this show, that show, and I thought, okay, I can get this because I'm the best of a bad bunch. This was my mentality going into it. I was like, I have to get this because all the man them have booked. So all the guys going up for this, I can see them in the room. They're all Americans doing a British accent.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, because you got to get this. If you don't get this job, that was my thought going into it. So I had 3 or 4 meetings with them, and they brought me on as a guest for 2 episodes. And then did the 2 episodes. I came home to England last summer. And even when I was here last summer and it was hype about me doing the 2 episodes, I never got the series regular yet, but I didn't tell no one. Everyone assumed I was in it, but I never got the green light. So I came home literally I was here, I didn't have no money because the 2 episodes didn't really pay a lot. So I was broke back home. Everyone thought I was this and that. I had nothing, but I just held it down, was humble, still did what I did with the kids, because my main focus is just the children and sculpting the future and showing them, I'm from where you're from, you can have what I got. There's no excuse. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear nothing from none of you youths, because I am you are me, So, and then right at the end of my trip in England, I was literally staying at a friend's house by Heathrow in London, ready to go back to America, where I had no job, no yard, no car, no money, nothing. Just that same audacity and drive and, balls, so to speak, And literally that morning I was getting on a plane, my manager texted me and it just said green light. And then, boom, my whole world changed. And that moment, I also wish everyone in the world can feel what I felt at that time when it just said green light, because I knew my whole life had changed at that second. From 0 to 100, to no money, to more money than I know what to do with. I knew it was all going to come, everything in droves, and I knew it, because that was it. And then that was it. Pretty much.
What a story, guys. What a story. I'm happy you took us on that kind of narrative as well, because even I was drawn into what was going on. And I think there's so many different things that come into play, but I want to bring Robin, because I know he's a very analytical thinker. I know he's taking this in as well.
I'm soaking it up. Because I just, where I want to go, I think, is the mentality, because you said it so many times in that probably 5-8 minutes, probably longer, like no money, homeless, like tell me your process through the day, like what kept you going, what were the little things, because obviously you must have a little routine in your head that just keeps you like
the end result was my motivation. The end result. Carl George always told me, one of the first times I met him, he sat me down and he said, Duane, close your eyes and vision where you want to be. And I visioned literally to a point where it was real. And I kept my eyes closed for a few minutes. And I remember saying to me, what do you see? What does it smell like? How does it feel? And I was picturing myself just there, red carpet, billboards, people going crazy, whatever. And I opened my eyes and he said, just work yourself to that. Just rewind from that moment there, backtrack till now. And that's what I did. I just kept picturing the end result. It was my motivation, you know, it was the only thing that drove me was the end result. There was no certainties, but I didn't care. I literally didn't care. I knew it was, I know it sounds a bit dramatic, but I'd always say I would die for this. Because I would. I didn't care. I would have died for it, literally, because it's what I live for. And acting, as I said, is my talent is a gift, you know, to have compassion and portray it on camera is a gift that I think has been given to me. So I want to open it, look at it, show everyone, and give it away and let people use it. And just feed whoever's soul, you know, and spark whichever brain. You know, and if it sparks one brain, all you need is one spark for fireworks, as far as I'm concerned. Boss up the place, you know.
Boss up the place.
That's it, man.
You know what, like, there's so much more going on behind the surface and below the surface, as what Duane has explained, and really where Rob just came from, because I can feel it as well. Because to be able to, and I go back to Carl George, and at some point, Adam, I want you to edit on Carl George's face, and we're going to point you to the link to the episode we recorded with Carl, because he's a great guy, actually. And more to the point, he helped out with a charity that I helped recently, doing some of his governance work as well, so really great guy. But the point I want to get to is that in order to maintain focus on the end goal, no matter what, with no money, no place to live, no car, just your bag, that's one thing. Because just before we came onto the interview today, I was sharing a story to our audience on Facebook. And I was talking about a conversation I had with a business owner, and he'd done really well, like 10 years ago, got to 7 figures in his business, and things have slipped back a bit, and there's a few things going on. And we got to the bottom of it, and it went from being a conversation of just friends to, right, I need to really help this person to get to understand that they're the root of all what's going on. Yeah, I won't say problems, it's like whatever's going on now. And so we spoke about it, and what I got to was like, you need to understand that you're holding yourself back, and even your language, the stories that you're saying, whether you believe what you say as one word or a phrase, that's a story you're telling yourself. And if you say, I can't do this because I need to do that, or this happens because of that, what you're actually saying is that I'm putting off my dreams and my goals, the end goal. And for me, to have that level of vigor, the level of tenacity, the ferociousness to go after it, whether it comes across aggressively, it doesn't matter, but to keep that inside and then hit where you've got to, for me, that's so powerful in the transformation process, but more importantly, to have that as an underlying skill for everything you've done, Duane. Because for me, there's so many people out there that, you know, they want to go after this big thing to become an actor. For me, like, I look at it and think, wow, that's an amazing thing. Do you know what I mean? And it is one of those things where it's lauded with praise, the press, like you said, the billboards, the red carpet. It's that kind of like amazing thing that people, you know, when you go to a movie and you watch it, it's all of that. And for me, it's an amazing thing to see where you've come from and yet keep pushing when there's like a penny in your bank. There's nothing really for you to go off, but there is this, guys. Creativity and energy, which you are not limited to in life. You are not limited. And for me, that's my fitting kind of analysis to what you've just laid out there. And I know with what we do in Business Owner Elevation, it is to help you guys move to the next level. And if you can take anything away just from that bit of bio from what Duane has broken down there, please do. Rob, where do you want to go next?
No, I like, so just a little bit about your routine, because this journey, obviously of homelessness, and then, so you're visualizing daily. Like
momentarily.
Moment
at least every hour of my day. You know, this whole journey took me, what was it? 642 Saturdays, or something like that. That's how long it took me from the 27th of November 03 to me getting that green light. You know,
so did you hear that elevation nation? The meticulous counting, and you know, this is why, especially at this point, I wanted to strike there for any parent that's got young teenagers who sometimes, why this, that, you're daydreaming is important.
It's called manifestation.
Absolutely.
You know? And I did. I tried to manifest everything through visualization. I'm a big believer in, you know, obviously speaking to the universe and bringing the energy you put out, you get back in. But one thing I did do before I booked the show, and I don't tell much people this, but it sounds crazy, but it's the truth. You know, I was with a friend of mine in the States, and you know, most people in the States in the artistic industry are quite spiritual.
Yeah.
And I sat with them and was having a crazy time. I think my auntie had just passed, and I don't think she passed yet, but something come to me and it changed my whole life. And I know it sounds very Gandhi-ish and God-ish and Jesus-y, but I realized at that point, the love is the answer. I know it sounds really crazy,
It
but
doesn't. That's perfect.
it hit me enough. All my life I was like, raw, and then it hit me. I was like, oh my God, the answer is love. I mean, with everything, if you make love the first step of your day and the last step of your day as you go into bed, I promise you, give it time and you will get everything you've ever wanted in your whole life. Karma, people think is a bad thing. Karma comes in many forms, including money. It's not a bad thing. I used to be bashful and be like, nah, it's not a bad thing. Money is a tool. It's not a machine to me. It's just a tool, just to help whoever or whatever else. So I realized early on, love is the answer. And everyone's got their own angles to get to the top of the mountain. But mine was love. And from that day, everything I did was based around love. And then everything started to come from me. Everything. Just anything I ever wanted just started to come so much. But it was perfect because it was all slow motion. I didn't blow up in my 20s, early 20s, and didn't know what was up, was down. Mine was all slow. Even now, it's still quite slow and everything's taking its time and it's perfect for me. I didn't want to blow in my 20s. I wasn't ready. You know, whatever. So, yeah, love is the answer, man.
Cool. Cool. Great answer. And you know, I love what I'm hearing right now, Duane, because I think it's key. And even just to put it into a different context of business, if you're in a business or doing a job that you don't love, there is the answer, guys. And you don't even have to get spiritual about it. It's like you can break it down to that kind of basic level. If you're in something or running a business or doing something that you don't love, you're not going to get the results you want because you're not in it passionately. And to get to passion, you need love. And I think it's a really important step that you need in order to move to the next level. Like you say, you know, whether you reach the top of that mountain, you've got to have that as your foundation. So I want to take you to our next question. Now, I know as part of your journey you explained, I would say a number of failures, whether they're temporary or whatever, I would like to ask you, and the reason why we ask you this question is to really get to understand for our audience and everybody watching, you know, how did you get through the failure? So my question, Duane, is what's the biggest failure that you've gone through? And what were the steps that you took to get past it or what you learned from it?
The biggest failure I've gone through is, patience. Yeah, and patience to me is like passion that's been tamed. You know, you got.
That's a good one.
No, for real. I felt like you've got to just, you know, slap it and say, I'm the daddy. You know, literally, you got to tame it because that's what drives a lot of people in my phone book or in my past to failure. Is ego. You know, ego is, for me, is man's biggest killer. You know, and it can mess you up in ways you can't even imagine just because of your ego or whatever else. So I find just being patient, because I always look at myself and be like, no man, I can do what he's doing. I can do what he's doing. I'd be like, why am I not doing it? Why am I not doing that? What's the difference between me? And that was always going to be my downfall. You know, that was going to be my failure. Just not being patient and I guess just taking time to sort of condition myself, you know, so to speak. So yeah, I think that, and I never once wrote myself off in terms of not being able to do what I wanted to do. I had a few people say, you know, oh, you know, come home now, we get it, you're active, but come back now, you know, come and live your life. And when it got to that point where it wasn't going to happen, people were like, dude, you're looking 30, man. Like, you got no kids, you got no family, you got no education, no qualifications and stuff like that. And I was just like, I can't stop. I'm at the point of no return.
So they press upon you their limitations.
But I said to them, I remember sit people down and I'd be like, look, I promise you, one day this will make sense to you. It will make sense. And now, you know,
well done.
They're like, I knew you could do it. And I'm like, but no, it's all love, you know. They did that out of love. They didn't do it because they're just, you know, people protecting me and care about me, you know. And they're still here today, you know. So yeah, I think failure patience is my biggest failure.
Which is the thing that I put on my latest Instagram. Learn to fall in love with patience.
Oh, see.
You know, because it can mess you. It can mess you and throw you off, and sometimes slow is fast. Because it's that period of patience is really like saying, I believe, like the universe is saying, you need to grow, you need to step up to another level.
Yeah.
Then things will, doors
absolutely.
will open.
Yes,
So
I agree.
I like that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, so you get the hybrid of the turtle and the hare.
Yeah.
You don't have to be one or the other.
No, you're right, man. Just take your time, and as you said earlier, you don't do a job you don't love because, we're all animals. Animalistic behavior. We thrive in natural habitat, as we do. If you're doing a job you don't love, I promise you, in the next 10 years, you're gonna go cuckoo.
Yeah.
Your cheese is gonna slide off your cracker, my friend. You know what I'm saying? I promise you,
Go
man.
to waste of cheese.
Man. You want jam in your donut, bro. So you gotta go what's natural to you. I always tell kids when I speak to a lot of young boys and young girls, I'll be like, yo, for example, T or Katrina, what comes natural to you? What do you love doing effortlessly? I don't know, drawing, illustration. Write books, write kids' books, do it for life, and you'll never work a day in your life, and they'll pay you. Really? Yeah. That's it. That's what I did. I figured it comes natural to me. I haven't worked in 13 years. Obviously side jobs, but I mean, I love my show. NCIS is a great gig, and the pressures are there. Obviously, you're on, the eyes are on me, but I do standing on my head. It's nothing to me because I do this.
Yeah.
I own it, I protect it, and it's mine.
I do this.
Yeah.
I like that, man.
Yeah.
Do it, guys.
Do it, man.
Yeah. So, as you talk about this, I mean, obviously now I think NCIS is kind of like being broadcasted in the UK. Now the new series is out over here. Just talk about that whole. I know it's still fresh and it's still new, but I'm sure I've seen on Insta a couple of things where you've been going to award shows and different little things. So, what is it? I mean, what is it like? Are a lot of those actors, actresses, and people in the business kind of full of crap, or is there some real genuine people in there? Or is Hollywood as we kind of see it from a 30,000 foot view on the TV, like just pure madness going on behind the scenes?
Well, life, you're always gonna get that side and that side. No matter where you go in life, who you are, you're always gonna have to filter out whoever, and all of it is perception. It's how you see things, and. Fortunately with my show, they've been going for so long. It's a machine, I feel like a ghost in the machine because I'm just coming in like with this weirdness, angle I'm taking on it, and it's working for me. But my co-stars obviously are very, they've all been in the game for years. They've done very well with themselves, so they're at a point where they don't need an ego. One of my first days on the set of NCIS when I was guested still, I remember just going for dinner one day. For lunch in the cafeteria bit, and this line is at least 30, 40 people long, and I see Mark Harmon, grey-haired fox, the big guy on campus, everyone loves him, crazy successful guy. He went straight to the back of the line, 30, 40 people, and I'm looking around like, why is my man going to the back of the line? Go and jump in the front. But from that day I realized there was no egos around me, and you didn't have to be this Mr. Big I Am, So he was one of the mans that showed me like this guy makes more money than anyone knows to handle a week.
Yes.
Not one time. This guy's stupidly peed off. And where I'm from, it's not. I try and downplay it like it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's stupid, and I'm sitting there every week like, bro, these guys are really the real deal here. He's one of the highest paid actors on television in history. So I'm working with this guy every week, and he's still at the back of the line. So things like that showed me that, that you don't have to have an ego. And then again, there's other people, no disrespect, who are doing other things that probably in that level, and they walking on like they're Diana Ross or Prince or Michael Jackson, and there's no need for it.
Yes.
But as I said, it's ego. It's that feeding, feeding whatever carries you, or what you think carries you. So
awesome.
You're gonna get people, and I've met some people who probably ain't, look me in the eye, so to speak. But that's okay, man.
Yeah.
That's okay. I just smile, and as my mom says, live good with everyone. And as I said, love is the answer.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
it for me, man.
Cool. Thanks for that answer. Very insightful. So I've got a question, Duane.
Yeah.
Our audience is watching right now. We refer to them, as you probably heard Rob say, Elevation Nation. So that's
Elevation Nation.
Yeah. Love that. Execute, elevate, and evolutionize your life.
Triple E, baby.
I love that.
So my question is, we've got young, we've got old, we've got in between, listening, watching. What's the one thing that our community should be aware of right now, according to Duane's world?
To do with me or just generally?
Just anything, generally.
Oh man, I say it a lot, but just ask. Instead of asking why, ask why not, man. It's that simple, you know. Just start being like, why? Why? Just say why not.
Yes.
That changes the whole game, you know. For me anyway, it just flips things on their head. That why not will just keep you going there. Why not? Oh, what about that? Why not? It's just gonna take you places you've never been, but why is just gonna stump you. You know, so just ask, you know, questions are open ended, I think, and just you know, that's the root of it. Forget what's happening on around you. You know, everyone has a choice in this life. I've got many friends who you know, probably in the classroom with me, with you guys, who are, you know, in places they shouldn't be, you know, but everyone has a choice. No one puts a gun to your head, you know, so to speak. So you have a choice. I don't want to hear it from anyone. I'm from Handsworth, from Lazals. My mum had me 15, 16, you know. So I'm you know, it doesn't get any more trailer trash black than that, does it? Do you know what I mean? So to speak. So, you know, I just find that you can make a choice, but you gotta drop the ego. You know, this bravado, you know, I seen it around my friends, you know, this. You know, your 4 or 5 closest friends around you, they're the strongest representation of who you are or who you're going to be. So you need to just look around and think, has this person really got my back? Yeah, he's got my back if a man tomps me in my face, cool. But what about in life? What about protecting my daughter's daughter? You know, you're going to help me on a big scale. And I think 100 black men were the people that first showed me that you can have a foundation and be black, you know, because I find as black people, we don't have as much organization as a lot of people. We don't even organize crime. And that's what we're, you know, probably known by a lot of people around the world to be involved in. And we ain't even got organised crime.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So what does that mean? You know? So yeah, there's a lot of work to do, but you know, hopefully I can just give people a little bit of an insight to the why not and the answer at the end of why not. You know?
There you go, Rob. I'm sure Rob may have another question. I'm just reminding our older friend here.
I've got 2 questions really. I've got one about obviously the business you're in, like now, because obviously you could get typecast or you can be in like shows, but what is some of your goals in terms of your acting career? What kind of things would you like to do? Would you like to move off that and do big blockbuster movies? What kind of things, you know, what kind of characters would you like to play in the future?
I believe, or I hope, I have faith that I have a couple classics in me in my lifetime. Ultimately, you know, the genre doesn't really matter to me at this point, as long as it's me telling a story and, you know, I'm bearing a piece of my soul that is truthful and the audience get it. Ultimately, I don't care what it is, but just, you know, forget the messenger for a minute and just listen to the message. You know, that's ultimately what I want to do. But yeah, obviously films is something that I want to get to because, you know, I just love the process of filmmaking. And TV's obviously great. Right now, TV's winning. It's just kicking ass. Netflix, all these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the business side of things, obviously, is just to, obviously, I'm a business product. I'm a package. I'm a, you know, call it what you want, but I am a business product. So I've got to, you know, portray my package the best way I can. You know, I don't want you to just look at me on the shelf and keep moving. I want you to stop, take a couple steps back, and have a look at me, open me up, you know. And you know, I'm not just some flash in the pan, hopefully, or passing Ferrari, because I've been doing this for too long, and it's gone so slow. I've been fortunate enough to appreciate everything and take it in my stride, and not only ride this unicorn, but get off it and lay with it and, you know, brush it and clean its horn and literally, yeah, man, I'm doing this, you know. And as I said, this is my first gig in the States, first real gig. And I ain't even took my warm-up jacket off yet. So I'm scared of what I'm going to do in the future because what I do, I know everyone does their thing, but what I do, ain't no one messing with me on this planet today on planet Earth. Nobody. Zero. That's how I see it. You're not touching me at what I do. And you do, I'm fine. But Duane Henry, the man in the mirror, ain't no one messing with him. No. I'm my biggest competition. Me. No one else. So the world, you know, is my oyster and, you know, I'm going to be dead for a lot longer than I'm going to be alive. And that scares the shit out of me. Excuse my language. So with that being said, you know, I just got to keep pushing, man, and just keep pushing out these shows and films. So one day when our kids look back, they can see how we used to walk, you know. A show called West End or like Dub Plate Drama. They seen how their great-granddad spoke and where he was from and see great-granddad doing stuff on the other side of the pond and making it look effortless, you know. I think of the big picture, you know, granddad coming from Jamaica in the 50s, whatever, on the Windrush, and then going to England, you know, I'm second generation, and what does that mean to me as a man, you know? All these things go in my head, and it's never going to stop. It's just constant, you know?
A lot of parallels here, isn't
there? Yeah, there is. And I got another question before we go in, before we kind of wrap up, which is, as we're around the table here, the Knights of the Round Table. But if you could invite 3 people to dinner, living or dead, who would those 3 people be, and why?
Man. That is a powerful question. I don't know if I got a powerful answer.
You got it. I can feel
Okay,
it.
3 people dead or alive. Oh my gosh. Okay, 3 people dead or alive. See, this is a hard one though. Not to come off powerful, try and be all dramatic. But when people say who do you want to meet, I honestly always say everyone. Anytime, anywhere, any place. Because anyone, anywhere can teach you anything. You could be having a bad day and you see like some kid with a lollipop, little girl with pigtails, smile at you, change your whole day.
Yeah.
I want to meet her.
Yeah.
I don't want to meet so and so. I want to meet her. So that's how I see things. But if you want me to answer it, I will answer it. Sidney Poitier, before he won the Oscar.
Cool.
That then must have been a crazy time for him, being the only one in what he's doing. So I'd love to just pick his brain a little bit, and because people always forget to mention him. They mention the Denzels and all these cool cats,
Absolutely.
but Sidney Poitier was the one who sort of he kicked down the door and tore off the roof for a man like Denzel and Lawrence Fishburne and all these guys to get in. So maybe Sidney before the Oscar. Secondly, oh my gosh, who would I like to meet?
It's pressure time.
Oh man. Okay, second person. Who would I like to meet? Ever? Oh my gosh, this is a crazy one, man. I need a second. Can I go to the third person?
We'll do the time lapse.
Okay, yeah. The third person. No. The second person would have to be. Oh my gosh, man. This is gonna sound crazy and probably a little bit corny, but probably Nelson Mandela, day 3, day 4 of prison. That when he just first got locked up for those 20 odd years, whatever he did, just where his mind was and where he said, if he had hope of what everything was going to be at the end, and just to hear his story and just to see that conviction that come out of his mouth, something like that, something like that in that situation. And the third person, me on my deathbed.
All right.
It's quite interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Duane. Is that every person he mentioned was at a point in time in their life, and I really like that. You can tell he's an actor. I like to know how to wear character at that point. And you know what? That's really cool because like you can feel the passion around what you do because the way you come across and the reasons why you'd want to meet someone. So thanks for asking that again.
Yeah. Nice question, man. I never even thought of that, but yeah. That's nice.
So as Rob said, as we're getting close to wrapping up. I think before we finally wrap up, we're going to leave Duane with the final word. Yeah. I think as an actor, he will have the final word today. So generally the final word, we wrap up with, a statement or something. And I'd love for you to share that with our audience. But the question I want to ask you is, if people want to find out more about Duane, brand Duane, where should they be looking other than watching NCIS?
Friday at Fox, 9 o'clock. I mean, I'm literally the publicity girls on NCIS. I think they hate me, man, because I had to get forced to get a Twitter and Instagram, all these things. I have Facebook because of my family from back home. Can I vent for a minute about social media?
Exclusive.
Right, take my watch off, man. I'm about to get all serious in here. All right, no disrespect to anyone who's on social media, who's made a living, a successful, I want everyone to eat and live and have a great, technology is the way forward. I do love it and I appreciate it and I get it. But things like Instagram have desensitized, and for me, this speaking for me, I don't know about anyone else, but it has ruined my view on women, love, and just things like that. It's so in my face right now, like beauty and the filters and the pretty. There's no elements of surprise no more. I like to work for my meat as a man, like a caveman mentality. You want to go out and you want to earn it, but if I can just type in and slide down and see everything but what you had for dinner. It's just ruined it for me. When I was young, because I'm like the last generation before phones and technology. When I was 13, 14, and I'd be walking on the street and I'd see like a little page 3, little tear out. I'd be like, raw, look at this, look at movies and whatever else. And that for me, these kids don't have that.
Yeah.
They don't have that. They can type in anything on YouTube and see everything they anything they can't even imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. So for me, it's just ruined that whole, you know, the whole love letter mentality is gone for me. You know. So from then, I didn't care about Instagram and stuff like that. I like organic stuff. Yeah, it's nice to meet girl online and stuff, but I like meeting that girl in the supermarket who's checking if the potatoes got bruises in it. And I'm like, right, she's kind of cute. That's real. That's natural for me. So natural progression. This internet stuff, it's zeros and ones, man. You know, it might work for some people, but for me, I'm old school, man. I got old soul. You know, my ancestors speak to me on a daily basis through Dennis Brown's music, might I add. So I always listen to them, and I know I've been here many times, and I'll probably come back in many different forms. That's how I see it. So for me, social media has just tarnished a lot of things, man, that I love, and I get it. It works for people, and you need it in this day and age. You got to work with the times.
Yeah,
I'm a big believer of staying with the hustle and adapting to your environment. You know, so yeah. Duane Henry, real Duane Henry is my Instagram. My Snapchat is IamDudzi, IAMDUDZI, and Facebook's just Duane Henry, and the Twitter is my Instagram is Duane Henry Official. See, I don't even know Duane Henry Official. My Twitter's real Duane Henry. So you can catch me on any of those social sites probably once or twice a month. You might see your message read and not replied because it's just how I am sometimes, and I might be on one. But you know, just watch the journey, man, and take what you can from it. Because, as I said, we're not going to be here one day. We're going to be in the boneyard. So get what you want out of this life before it's too late, my friends.
Thank you very much, Duane.
Yeah.
So, guys, you know where to connect. I want to say Business Owner Elevation Nation. It's been a pleasure. Rob has hooked up another great guest for us. It's been a pleasure for me to meet Duane in person. I've heard a lot about him over the past 2 or 3 years. And finally, we've had him on the show. There's been so many insights. And as he said, you can tell he's an old soul. There's a lot of interesting personality. There's a lot of story. And that's the story comes across. And for me, that's a really great thing, and I know you guys are gonna get lots of value out of this. So at that point, Rob, if there's anything else you want to add before we hand over to Duane?
No, we'll just go with the closeout. I mean, as I said, I'm just really grateful that you've taken time out of your busy schedule to do it, Duane, and you know, I feel like a little cheerleader in the background, and I just wish you continued success in what you're gonna do. And I know that you'll keep it real and come back and inspire the youth.
Always, otherwise my mum will cuff me in my head like it was nothing. Yeah, always, man. Always keep it real, man.
Yeah, we'll put the English subtitle on that. Anybody without Jamaican heritage, okay.
Clarendon. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so we'll just give you the final word. So any final word that's just going to inspire that Elevation Nation, or something that you want them to think about, just
the kids.
Anybody who you want to reach right now.
To the camera?
Yeah, it's your time.
All right, well, yeah, I guess I'm probably just speaking to the 13-year-old me, or the 12-year-old me, or the 8-year-old me, you know, just, you know, if you have a dream, or you have a vision of what you want, that's in here, you know, to get it in here, in your hand and all around you, the first thing you have to do, as I say, you have to own it. Own your choice. You know, if you don't own your choice, then it's gonna hurt if you crash. You know, because there's no conviction in it. So own what you have, because at the end of the day, majority of people I speak to and I get advice from are old people, because that's the direction we're headed. You know, so I always like to ask old people questions, and why did you do this, or why didn't you do that? You know, and you don't want to be one of those people who are lying on your bed at night later on in life. You know, after your friends have gone and you've had a laugh and you've clinked drinks and touched feast, and you're lying down on your own, and that weight on your chest of what you wanted to do in your life and you haven't done it, that weight is going to kill you. And that feeling there is horrible, you know, I'm sure it's horrible. It's the worst thing in the world because it's called regret. And you don't want to live with those things, you know. So keep your pockets deep, keep your arms long, you know. I don't know what that means, but it makes sense, right? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just own what you do, and as a choice, you know, whatever you're gonna do, be the best at it. You know, I always say, just try and live good with people. And you know, this tattoo says fortune favors the brave. So good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.